So notice that there's no session here because we didn't create any. So as soon as you create, you click here, a new query. Okay. Every time you create a new query, you create a session. So if you look up here, you have under next to my username, you have a number. That's a session ID. Okay. If I add another one, then that's another session. It has 54 now, and so on. So each of these is a session. It's a separate script. It's a separate session. Okay. A batch is from this go to the next go. This is one batch. This is two batches. If you count the one before it, so basically I have 4 batches here. Okay. The one before it, this one here, and then this one. So 1, 2, 3, actually 3. Yeah, well, the one after 2, but if there's any. So we have like 1, 2, 3, and the 4 if there's anything after that. Okay, if you don't put anything here, it's just one big batch all the way down. Okay? And the thing is that if you have one go here and another go here, if your statements are in here, okay, any statements you put in here, if they, if let's just say this one passed, and this one fails, okay, your script will terminate here. These are okay. It will store into the database. If they affect your database, they will stay there. Okay, and then the rest, if it crashes here, then the rest will be ignored, and it will jump to the next go, the next block. Okay, so it doesn't roll back because we didn't set the rollback. That'll be another issue. We'll deal with that later. Okay, so that's what a batch is. But for now, let's go and create some variables in here. So I'm using master right now. It doesn't matter in this case. So you declare variables by using the declare keyword here. So declare the add symbol here. You could put like total and the int or the data type that you want. Okay. So I have an integer type of total, and then you can see that if I print total, you can print directly here as well. If you print it, you get the result down in the results section. So if I put print the total, and you see that if I run this in a single batch, okay, you execute, and you see that total is nothing there. There's no. Really, it's empty. It's null. So if I set, you can set into 100 directly when you declare the variable name, and if you run this now, you should see the 100 printed down here. Okay, this little number here. So when you print it, you can print almost anything you want here. Strings concatenation, you can say something like total, it's a string, and then plus like equals that, right? Equals total. And I think the plus is the concatenator. So if you print it, you see they have the text. Oh, we have to cast it. Okay, yeah. When you print it, have to be string. So everything will be string here. Let's see, you have to cast this to a string. So say cast and total. I forgot, this is one here. Is it varchar 25? I'm not sure this is correct. Yeah, so you have to cast this number as a string because when you print it, because the total is a string, so everything will become string. So it doesn't have that implicit conversion, unfortunately. So in this case, you have to print it out this way. So you can see that I can have strings printed in this screen here, and then this is just for like very simple output and calculations before you actually put it into your code. Okay. So I have I declare here, if I want to change the value after this, I could do like I would say set. Okay, at the set, the total equals a new value. I could say here total times 2, right? The total has a value of 100, so now it's 100 times 2. I get 200, and let's see if I get 200 down here. Okay, so you run this, and you see that you get 200. So it looks very similar to any programming language. I just have to use the word set. If you remove that set, you'll see that you have a syntax error, and if you run it, it's gonna crash. Okay, so you cannot just use that and then expect that to work. So good that it has this thing to tell us. You can also declare multiple variables inside the same statement. Here I could do that. I can declare a second one, maybe like a variable name of, let's just say, name of varchar. It's not string, unfortunately. Would have been nice. Varchar of, let's just say, 5 characters, and I can leave that blank if I don't want to assign any values. I can declare a third variable name, call it cost as money, and make that equal to, let's just say, 500. Okay, and then I can print those out down here. So one print statement. Second, it'll be like a name. That should be. I don't need to cast that really. Name is just name. That will be like just nothing. And then I have here, I'll cast this to varchar as well. Okay. So I'm casting now, changing the actual variable name to something else. It's a string in this case. So let's see if I print this. So you see that the second name is nothing there. I wonder why it's not printed. Did I miss something? Oh, it's nothing there. Okay, what if I put like, let's see, I would expect to show us something, but see if that do something. Okay, so I'm surprised that if it's nothing, it's just omit that entire statement. Yeah, right. That's what I was trying to figure out why. I would expect that would be like name, and I'm wondering is it because not sure. Interesting. Okay, so this is in the same batch. Now, if you want to put that into a separate batch, so this variable is a local only to this batch here. If you want to separate that in a separate batch, notice I cannot put go over here. I can separate that. I can do that. Okay. I don't think this will run. Let's see. So you can see that you cannot put go next to anything or after or before as well. I could put that here. I cannot put anything after this as well. Okay, it won't let me. So it needs to be on its own line. Okay. You still get error or print X doesn't exist. So let's see. One batch. Okay. So now if I go down here and if I copy this name, print down here after line 8. Okay. You'll see that again error. Okay, so the name is that doesn't exist within the next batch. It's only local to that block of code. So if you want to go next code, it's just one block of code. Okay. Okay, so now we got that going. I could go down here and say, let's see, from that database, we could pick one of these database tables here from the AP. You have AP, right? In your there is, okay. Okay, so we'll pick the table. Let's just say the invoices table. Okay. So let me set that here. So I put that. Let's see what's in there. To select from the invoices. I also want to make sure I select that drop down for the AP. Or you could put use here, right? Either way. Just easier this way. I want to see those numbers, what they look like. So we have here some data. So we could like so we have the invoice total here, right? So there's a number. We could use that like the aggregator. So I can say I can declare a variable name in here. Could do something like maybe average. Okay. Of type. The total will be like, I think that's money, right? It's money. And you want to get the average from that entire column. So here you would say select the average from that invoice total from the table invoices. Okay, and you can always wrap that with that statement there. So it will look like that. So on the money, we'll be getting the average from that total invoice total from the invoice table. And here you only get one value. Okay. So because you take the average, you get everything. If you do this, if you say not the average, if you just say select the invoice total from here, from the table, then all you get is just this last one on the list. Okay? It's going to look through the entire table and it returns the last one and then assigns that to money. You get to average and you get that. So it may be incorrect. Okay? Actually, everything will be added. The first one, it gets the first one, select that, and then return it, assign the average, but it's not the end of the list yet, so you keep going until the end, so eventually you get just the last record. Okay. So you want to get the average, then that's the one value, and then that should be the average. And if you run it, you can't see it. If you run it, you just say successfully, that's it. You can't see the value. And to see the average, you have to print that out, right? Print the average. And you have to run these together, because when you run it, it only stays within the execution. When you run it, it's what we call this on runtime. So during runtime, it's there. And if I run this, and if I print average, actually it's not there, right? Because average is a separate execution, so you have to run together to get that average. Okay. For this case. So usually you put that inside a function or a store procedure, and then that way you can access the data. Okay? So this is one way how you can get data, assign data to a variable name from a table, from the invoices table. And again, if I just take that average out, you see that average here will not be 1879. It will be just it has a lot of those values, so it won't let you do it. Need a subquery. Okay, fine. So that's one way. Another way is, let's see, when you declare a variable like this, and okay, let's say money, okay, and if I do like this, if I set the average equals to that select statement we just did, select the average. I shouldn't delete that one. Invoice total from invoices. Okay. If I do this, and then we'll print that out. Right. I have to select all 3 lines. Okay, execute. So you see that it works fine. We've got the same results before. Okay. Sometimes you will be tempted to do this. Just say you remove the word select from here. Just give you the average. Okay. From that invoice, and then print that out. Okay, you get an error because if you do it this way, if you take out this select statement here, then you have to replace this with a select instead of set. Okay, so there's another way how you can assign data to your variables if you are getting the data from a table. So I put here instead of set, I put select over here. Okay. I'm not sure why that's there, but so yeah, take those close up. So now I can say select the average from here to the average. So this is similar to what I showed you earlier in that PowerPoint slide. If I go back up a little bit, you see here, right? Select total, act total equals the sum of total from the sales. Okay? So that statement and this statement is exactly the same. When you do this though, so if I printed it, you should get the same total, 187 something. Okay? Just remember that when you do this. This is almost the same as doing this. If I copy this, put it here. If I take the @ symbol out, okay? Maybe you shouldn't use AVG here, it's a keyword. Let's replace this with the whole word average. Okay? If I take that @ symbol out. Now these two are very different. This one here, I'm assigning the value here to a variable. This one here, I am printing this out under a column called average. Right? So if I print this by itself, you'll see that I have the result of average down here, and then the value. This one here, I can rewrite this like this. Remember you did this before, the alias. That's an alias column. I can say that as average, right? If we like lowercase. That's exactly the same. These two are exactly the same. They're equivalent. One way to get alias column is do this way. The column equals that, or you do that first and then as the column name. If I run these two, they should be identical. Okay, exactly the same result. So the difference is between these two is just the @ symbol. When you do this, if I run these two together, notice that I don't return anything back because the data points goes into that variable name. So that's the major difference between the two. If you remember your select statements, I could do like select the average, put to that alias column, and I could do another, what's the other column in the table? I don't remember. We have, let's just say payment total, right? I could do here like payment total. And since this is the aggregate, I have to use that group by, right? Payment total. But don't, it's gonna ask for error. So this one here is familiar. We've done this before many times. Okay, I'm just selecting this average column, make that average column, and then another column here by itself, and then from the table, and then you get that result down here. Kind of small, but okay, that's pretty straightforward. Now I cannot do this in here though. If I assign it to a variable name, I cannot put pay total here. Let's just say the first is that, the second is that second parameter. Okay, so when you assign one column to a variable name, okay, everything here has to be variable only or none at all. It's a one or none at all. Okay, so I can't do this. If I have another variable, then that's fine. Let's say, declare maybe total as money, and also put here like total is equal to that, right? If I spell that correctly, then that's fine, because both of those columns are going to go into their own location here, and then I can print them out after this. Print the average, and then print the total. Okay, so I have to run all these together, and so now you see what I have here. The total payment here, yeah, I have to, let's just say also the average here, or sum. Yeah, because it returns in multiple values. I think that's what it is. Okay. So I return those two tables, two data to those. So just like you cannot mix the two, either one or the other. You can have both.